Good evening. Welcome to the September 2nd, 2025 Millis School Committee meeting. We'll start by taking attendance. Mr. Underhill? Present. Ms. Canstrari?
Here.
And Ms. Briggs? And I am here as well. Superintendent Mullaney is here. And Shailene Volpe is here as Volpe? I was trying. Volpe is here as well. Welcome. I'll start by reading this announcement that this meeting is being recorded and can be viewed on Mondays at 7 o'clock on Comcast Channel 8 or Verizon Channel 37. All meeting videos are also posted to the Millis Public Schools website under School Committee. All videos are also available on YouTube. All school committee minutes and agendas can be found on the school committee page of the Millis Public Schools website. Persons wishing to speak during open session must sign in before the meeting starts. Comments are not to exceed 3 minutes in time. Individuals may not name students, staff, or parents. All topics for discussion must be limited to those items listed on this evening's agenda, and all comments must be directed to the chair. The committee may not respond to public comments. It shall be their decision to discuss issues at a later date. All times are approximate. Do we have anyone here for public comment? Anybody signed in? No? Okay. Then we will go first to our student representative. Welcome. Hey, welcome back, Nicholas.
My name is Nicholas Roy, and I'm the student representative, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys things that are happening around in the high school. So we returned back to the high school last Wednesday, and we're currently getting back into the flow of things. And the new cell phone-free environment has had a good rollout, and students have been able to fully concentrate on their schoolwork and interactions with other students. Tomorrow, the 3rd of September, we are having the summer reading day, where students will meet with their groups who have read the same summer reading book over the summer, and most book groups will have discussions relating to the book that they read, and also some will be tested on their knowledge with various tests, while others completed an assignment over the summer, such as like a dialectic journal to demonstrate their understanding. For clubs, on September 10th, we will have the high school club fair, where each club will have a table where students can learn a bit more about each club. So students will walk around and see each table with each club and decide if they want to join it. This is especially important for freshmen who will have a lot more opportunities on clubs that they may want to join. For sports, both boys JV and girls varsity soccer teams are playing against Bellingham today. And that's pretty much it that I have today. There's not much. So does anyone have any questions?
No.
Okay.
How was the first week back?
It was good. I'm pretty busy, but I'm enjoying it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you. Now, our teacher representative, Ms. Copes, welcome back.
Good evening, everybody. First, I want to say thank you, Mr. Powers, for a lovely greeting and welcome last week. It was very nice to hear from you.
Thank you.
We've had a great start off. I'm going to kick off with some CFB announcements. So from the CFB, they've had a wonderful start to the school year with grades 1 through 5 last week, and the pre-K and K students have come in this week. They're welcoming Celia Rodriguez, which is going to be the immersion assistant through the auspices of the Spanish government. She'll be coming at the end of September, and she'll be working with the immersion classes beginning in October. She is staying with the Sokol family and will be with us through May 31st. CFB was pleased to find out that they were the recipients of a grant to hire 2 additional special education teachers this year, so that is super exciting. And they're also excited to announce that they are finally fully staffed. They have some amazing paras, ABAs, a math teacher, and the intro music teacher to cover Mr. Femino's leave of absence, in addition to the 2 grant-funded special education teachers. At the middle school, some wonderful helpers from Mrs. Hurley's Can Do Club came in the week before school to give tours to students and parents on 3 different occasions. The students also did panels for the 6th grade parents. On Thursday, so high school's doing summer reading tomorrow. On Thursday, the middle school will be gathering with their summer reading groups to discuss the books they selected. Each student had the option to choose from 7 different titles. The common themes for the middle school novels this year revolve around family challenges, neurodiversity, and the importance of finding support and self-acceptance. Each book's protagonist navigates a difficult personal situation, and it is often linked to their family, and they find strength through their human connections. In Spanish, students are reviewing all of their vocabulary and getting ready for another fun year. 7th grade math students have taken their IXL math diagnostic. In 8th grade Spanish, the students are learning about the different regions of Ecuador at this point. And in the 6th grade, they are transitioning to a rotating schedule and learning how to carry their backpacks from class to class, which is super cute to see in the hallway. They're also finding their UAs on their own, and I can attest to that because every so often I find one outside my door literally spinning in a circle. Is this the band hallway? I'm like, no, it is not the band hallway. We can get you there. So high school, we're doing summer reading. What Nicholas failed to mention is that one of our high school reading books this year is actually written by Mr. Nash himself. So that's kind of fun and exciting. And that's about what I have for you for this evening. Any questions?
How was your first week?
My first week back has been fabulous. I'm in my happy place. I've got Nutcracker registration out there. I've got like great classes sitting in front of me. I got my arrows taped on the floor. We're golden. So, yeah, it's been good. And I will second what Nicholas had to say about the device-free high school. Honestly, it has not, I've literally seen no pushback in any of the rooms, and I'm teaching 10 to 12 this year. So it's been really, I've thus far found it to be a very positive change. So I'm very excited to kind of see how it continues. So that's been a good thing.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move to the action items. So the first one is consideration to approve the August 19th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Canstrad.
I make a motion to approve the August 19th meeting minutes.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Next is consideration to approve a middle school girls soccer coach.
So we had 65 girls who registered for girls soccer this fall. Very exciting news, a lot of participation. So in addition to fielding a varsity JV and freshman team, there's enough participation that we can field a middle school team. So we'd be looking for a stipend for a middle school coach, and the funds to pay the coach would come from the user fees of the additional athletes. And there's a memo from Mr. Finney with some more details in the packet.
And this is self it's
Basically
self-funded,
self-funded,
right?
Yeah, nothing would come out of the operating budget.
Not a bad problem to have. More
Right.
kids want to play a sport,
Yes,
right?
yes. So exciting.
Unless there's any questions, I can take a motion.
Is it just for this year at the moment?
This season, yeah. Yeah, whenever we do, it's all dependent on the notice.
So I'm just reading Mr. Finney's memo, and I just want to make sure I understand correctly to ensure all athletes. So we're talking about a middle school team, so we would need a coach for the middle school team.
Right.
His memo says the athletic department is proposing to add one additional coach at the freshman level to the current girls soccer coaching staff.
The stipend is the same as a middle school coach gets the same stipend as a freshman.
To add one additional coach. So it's not adding a coach for the freshman team, it's adding
Right, it's
a
a
coach
whole
at a
different team.
freshman level.
Yeah.
Freshman
level
coach
stipend.
level? Freshman level
stipend
stipend.
with middle school kids.
They'll be playing
And
other
then-
middle school teams.
I think some middle school and some, they might play some other freshman teams.
So this is, so we, we've had middle school soccer before, so we're essentially going to the middle school. From what I understand, the middle school coach is going to coach the freshman team, and then but we don't have a freshman team coach, right? So
So, no, we'll have a
Right.
varsity coach, a
Right.
JV coach, a freshman coach,
Right.
and a middle school coach.
And middle school
That's
coach.
the same as same rate as a freshman coach.
right, okay.
And so are we saying that if we will play other towns, and if those towns have a middle school team, they'll play them, they'll have to play them, and if they don't, they will play a freshman team, even though we
might play
have a freshman team?
Yeah, like it might be a different, like some schools might have a couple freshman teams too. So, they try and get the best competitive thing.
And so just waivers are,
Yep,
will
waivers
cover
are all
this?
set.
Okay,
We can play this.
okay.
So the freshman team, even though it consists of middle school athletes, would still play other freshman teams that may also consist of middle school
Right,
athletes,
right.
but they wouldn't play it wouldn't be like a middle school soccer team, middle level soccer team playing the freshman level.
freshman-
Right?
the
So
freshman
they'd be
team,
called freshmen. Yeah.
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 It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Millis.
make a motion to approve the middle school girls soccer coach.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Next, so we have some policies are up next. We want to go in order with these first. Or do
Yeah, we can have.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, so just to read it. So next, so we have consideration to approve an updated non-discrimination policy for the first reading. Welcome.
How are you?
All right.
So to start with, I just gave you access to the document. There was a link on the
Memo for the school committee.
Okay.
It's towards the bottom after all of the explanations. So I updated your access, so you should be good to go to get
Okay.
on the document. All right, so if everybody could possibly turn to the unofficial copy of the school committee policy, I can explain all this to you. Does everybody have access? I'm good? All right. All right, so
I
basically.
can throw it up on the board. Oh, yeah.
Sure. So basically, last year, I completed the self-assessment portion of the civil rights audit. They're going to be coming out in the spring. You guys are going to be receiving a lot more information about that. But during the audit, what was discovered is that we do have some policies that need to be updated. And along with those are some of our in-house procedures and protocols. So this summer, what we did was we all worked hard. The entire administration worked on it, and we made sure that we're up to date with everything. But there were specific policies that we really had to pay attention to. The first being the non-discrimination policy. So for you, if you jump to that document, the unofficial school copy, if you go to page 65, you will see a lot of red. I'm just letting Bob get there. There we go. So in looking at this policy, what I did was I reviewed it and noticed that we had some Title I language in there. Excuse me, not Title I, Title IX language in there. At that point, I passed it by our council just to make sure that that was correct. Some things have changed with law, so now we want to make sure that we don't have Title IX language solely within a non-discrimination policy. Because if anybody has a complaint about race or culture or anything like that, that falls under Title VI. So you want to make sure that
Title IX has its own separate policy, which we have and which was updated in 2020. So we're good to go with that. So for the non-discrimination policy, what the attorney felt best was that the entire policy was replaced and updated in its entirety with the MASC-based model policy, which you will see there. In accordance with that, something you have to legally have is the name of the Title IX coordinator and the civil rights coordinator, which happened to be me. So you're going to see all of that. So is there any questions about, I know you guys have to read through it, but prior to that, do you have questions?
No, that makes sense.
Mhm.
So procedurally, we need to read the entire text.
Okay.
Um,
I'll do the first one if you want. Different one. Okay, so do we need to introduce it in any certain way, or do we need
No,
to just
there's no-
start reading
there's-
it?
It's actually, there's no votes tonight, it's just reading,
Okay.
having the first reading, so you can just read it as, starting with policy.
Are we waiving the first reading and reading the second reading tonight? Or
You just have to do 2 readings.
Okay.
You don't have to wait.
Do
Yeah,
three.
you just
Okay, all right.
Do the first reading and then approve it after the second reading at the next meeting.
Okay. All right. Buckle up, everybody. It's a long one. Policy number 1.16.0, non-discrimination policy. Equal access to education, non-discrimination. The Millis School Committee and Millis Public Schools are committed to maintaining an education and work environment for all school community members that is free from all forms of discrimination. I'm just noticing there's a period after
Yeah.
members. Okay. That is free from all forms of discrimination, including harassment and retaliation. The members of the school community include the school committee, employees, administration, faculty, staff, students, volunteers in the schools, family members participating in school meetings or school-sponsored activities, and parties contracted to perform work for the Millis Public Schools. Millis Public Schools does not exclude from participation, deny the benefits of MPS from, or otherwise discriminate against individuals on the basis of race, including protective hairstyles and texture, color, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, religion, disability, age, genetic information, active military veteran status, marital status, familial status, homelessness, ancestry, ethnic background, national origin, or any other category protected by state or federal law in the administration of its educational and employment policies or in its programs and activities, and provides equal access to all designated youth groups. Millis Public Schools requires all members of the school community to conduct themselves in accordance with this policy. It shall be a violation of this policy for any member of the school community to engage in any form of discrimination, including harassment and retaliation, or to violate any other civil right of any member of the school community. We recognize that discrimination can take a range of forms and can be targeted or unintentional. However, discrimination in any form, including harassment and retaliation, will not be tolerated. MPS will respond promptly to any reports or complaints of discrimination, including harassment and retaliation or other violations of civil rights, pursuant to our detailed response protocol. Where it is determined that discrimination or harassment has occurred, MPS will act promptly to eliminate the conduct and will impose developmentally appropriate disciplinary, restorative, and/or corrective action. It shall also be a violation of this policy for any school community member to subject any other member of the school community to any form of retaliation, including, but not limited to, coercion, intimidation, interference, punishment, discrimination, or harassment for reporting or filing a complaint of discrimination, cooperating in an investigation, aiding or encouraging another member of the school community to report such conduct or file a complaint, or opposing any act or practice reasonably believed to be prohibited by this policy. Any member of the school community who is found after investigation to have engaged in any form of discrimination, including harassment or retaliation, against another member of the school community will be subject to consequences determined appropriate by the administration. Such consequences may include restorative restorative measures and corrective action and/or student discipline or staff disciplinary action up to and including termination of employment. Nothing in this policy limits any other authority of the Millis School Committee or the Millis Public Schools. This policy does not limit the authority of Millis Public Schools under its authority to discipline or take corrective action for educational and workplace conduct which the Millis Public Schools deems unacceptable. This policy also does not limit the authority of the Millis Public Schools to take immediate interim disciplinary action as set forth in any applicable code or policy. Definitions. Discrimination and harassment are defined as unwelcome conduct, whether verbal or physical, that is based on race, color, national origin, ethnicity, ancestry, religion, age, disability, genetic information, veteran status, marital status, sex, gender, gender identity, gender expression, sexual orientation, pregnancy or pregnancy-related condition. Discrimination and/or harassment includes, but is not limited to, verbal abuse or insults about, directed at, or made in the presence of an individual or group described above. Any action or speech that contributes to, promotes, or results in a hostile or discriminatory environment to an individual or group described above. Any action or speech that is sufficiently severe, pervasive, or persistent that it either 1. Interferes with or limits the ability of an individual or group described above to participate in or benefit from employment or a program or activity of MPS, or 2. Creates an intimidating, threatening, or abusive educational or working environment. Harassment may include, but is not limited to, any unwelcome, inappropriate, or illegal physical, written, verbal, graphic, or electronic conduct that relates to an individual's actual or perceived race, color, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, religion, disability, age, genetic information, active military veteran status, marital status, familial status, homelessness, ancestry, ethnic background, national origin, or any other category protected by state or federal law, and that has the purpose or effect of creating a hostile education or work environment by limiting the ability of an individual to participate in or benefit from the district's programs and activities, or by unreasonably interfering with that individual's education or work environment, or, if the conduct were to persist, would likely create a hostile educational or work environment. Millis Public Schools will take the appropriate action against any member of the school community who is found in violation of this policy. Title IX, Sexual Harassment, effective August 14, 2020, means verbal, physical, or other conduct that targets a person based on their sex and that satisfies one or more of the following: a school employee conditioning educational benefits or services on participation in unwelcome sexual conduct, i.e. quid pro quo. Any unwelcome conduct that a reasonable person would find so severe, pervasive, and objectively offensive that it effectively denies a person equal access to the school's educational program or activity. Any instance of sexual assault, dating violence, domestic violence, or stalking, as those terms are defined by the Clery Act 20 U.S.C. 1092 F6AV and the Violence Against Women Act 34 U.S.C. 12291 A 8, 10, and 30. Allegations of Title IX sexual harassment shall be reported and investigated pursuant to the Millis Public Schools Protocol for investigating sexual harassment retaliation pursuant to Title IX. Resources. The Director of Student Services is designated as the District ADA Title 11, Title IX, and Sexual Harassment Coordinator and Grievance Officer for the school committee, administration, faculty, staff, volunteers in the schools, and for parties who are contracted to perform work for the Millis Public Schools, and can be reached at Neely Kumanelis Urquhart,
Nice.
Director of Student Services, Student Support Services, 9 Park Road, Millis, Mass. 02054, and Urquhart at millisschools.org, Millis Public School High School Principal, 245 Plain Street.
Nope, that was a mistake.
Okay.
That's coming.
Okay.
There we go. Done.
Okay, perfect. The Director of Student Services is designated as the District ADA Title 11, Title 9. What did I say? Oh, Title 6. Sorry,
It's
did I do
okay.
that before? Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Title 6, Title 9, and Sexual Harassment and Civil Rights Coordinator for students in the Millis Public Schools. In addition, the Assistant Superintendent for Student Services is the District 504 Coordinator and can be reached at Director of Students.
We're going to stop that. I'm not the assistant superintendent.
Right,
If you
okay.
want to make me the assistant superintendent, I can do that, but
So
I'm not.
that was one of my questions. If we're really being sticklers.
Sure. Yes.
Which version do we want to use? Because the one that we were given in our, under resources reads the Assistant Superintendent for Student
Yep.
Services is designated as a district ADA.
Mhm.
Yet the one in the handbook says the Director of Student Services is
Correct.
designated. So which version?
So basically, when I did my updates, obviously I put myself as the Director of Student Support. When the attorney did them, she changed me to the Assistant Superintendent of Student Support. I have not been granted that position through contract.
Okay.
You know, so we would stick to Director of Student Support Services.
Okay. So
I'm just
I,
changing this in here.
yep.
There were so many throughout it, it is very possible that I missed a couple.
In addition, the Director of Student Support Services is the District 504 Coordinator and can be reached at Director of Student Support Services, Neely Kumanelis Urquhart, 9 Park Road, Millis, Mass. 02054, and Urquhart at millisschools.org. Inquiries concerning the Millis Public Schools policies and protocols, compliance with applicable laws, statutes, and regulations, and complaints may also be directed to the Director of Student Support Services. Inquiries about laws, statutes, regulations, and compliance may also be directed to the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education or the Office for Civil Rights, U.S. Department of Education, 5 Post Office Square, 8th floor, Suite 900, Boston, Mass. 02109, 617-289-0111, email ocr.boston@ed.gov, website www.ed.gov/OCR. Legal references. Title VI, Civil Rights Act of 1964. Title VII, Civil Rights Act of 1964, as amended by the Equal Employment Opportunity Act of 1972. Executive Order 11246, as amended by EO 11375. Equal Pay Act, as amended by the Education Amendments of 1972. Title IX, Education Amendments of 1972. Rehabilitation Act of 1973. Education for All Handicapped Children Act of 1975. No Child Left Behind Act of 2001, 20 U.S.C., forget what that symbol means, 7905, the Boy Scouts of America Equal Access Act. MGL Chapter 71B1, what is that? Sorry, what am I looking at? There's a general law popping up
You're
over it.
good.
Okay, Chapter 766 of the Acts of 1972.
That's it.
That's it.
Well done.
You did a
Well
very
done.
good
Well
job.
done.
I'm a little
No.
parched right now.
No?
My only question is, this
Yeah.
is going in the policy book. Suppose
Yeah.
there's a different person that takes the current title you have. Your name is in
You have to
here.
update it.
So
Yeah,
we'd have to update it every time?
You do. So by law, everybody within the district, everybody within the town has to know who they would reach out to for particular civil rights issues. So Section 504, Title VI, Title IX, Title VII, every title, basically, all of these civil rights
Yeah.
sorts of things, they have to know.
Yeah, and we have that in our handbooks. I was just
We have it in the
curious about
handbooks,
it
yeah.
being in the policy book because Shane would have to read it every few
Yeah.
years if the position
It is.
changes.
It
Okay.
it is by law.
Okay.
So it's a lot.
All right. So then do we just move on to the
I mean,
next
we
one?
just-
Second
The next one,
unless
yeah, so the
people have
second-
questions?
So you did great. Moving on to, it's a lot. So now you would move on to policy 4.22, which is the physical restraint policy. You're going to go to page 211. Yep, it's 4.22, but it's page 211 in the updated book. So, on physical restraint, this is something that really is looked at by not only the Department of Education, but also the federal government consistently, due to some of the ramifications that can come from it. Something that has been updated in ours, and again, checked by our attorney, is the update to prohibit the use of prone restraint as mandated by DESE. So the idea of prone restraint is the concept of having a child or an adult face down. Obviously, what can come out of that is asphyxiation. So that is something that we do not practice. We use safety care as our model. And, obviously we try to prevent restraint at all times. But even if one does occur, that is not something we ever move forward with. Something else that was added to the following statement to align with the state requirements was physical restraint shall not be used as a standard response for any individual student. No written individual behavior plan or individualized education program, IEP, may include use of physical restraint as a standard response to any behavior. Physical restraint is an emergency procedure of last resort. So basically, it's the concept of regardless of disability, regardless of need, this is always a last resort. So, now we go to the reading.
You want me to take that one? Or you want me to-
We have to read the entire policy, even though it's only part of the change.
I wasn't trying to get the short one.
Oh, I was just making sure there wasn't a window to not read the whole thing.
Physical restraint of students, 4.22. Maintaining an orderly, safe environment conducive to learning is an expectation of all staff members of the Millis Public Schools. Further, students of the district are protected by law from the unreasonable use of physical restraint. Such restraint shall be used only in emergency situations as a last resort and with extreme caution after other lawful and less intrusive alternatives have failed or been deemed inappropriate. When an emergency situation arises and physical restraint is the only option deemed appropriate to prevent a student from injuring himself or herself, another student or school community member, a teacher or employee or agent of the school district may use such reasonable force needed to protect students, other persons, or themselves from assault or imminent serious physical harm. The definition of forms of restraint shall be as defined in 603 CMR 46.02. The use of mechanical restraint, medication restraint, and seclusion is prohibited. The use of prone restraint shall be prohibited in the Millis Public Schools except on an individual student basis and only in the following circumstances. 1. The student has a documented history of repeatedly causing serious self-injuries and/or injuries to other students or staff. 2. All other forms of physical restraints have failed to ensure the safety of the student and/or the safety of others. 3. There are no medical contraindications as documented by a licensed physician. 4. There is psychological or behavioral justification for the use of prone restraint, and there are no psychological or behavioral contraindications as documented by a licensed mental health professional. Ooh, I went down too far. Jump. 5. The program has obtained consent to use prone restraint in an emergency as set out in 603 CMR 46.03 1B, and such use has been approved in writing by the principal. And 6, that's read weird, is that correct?
Yes, it is
Okay.
actually. Yep.
The program has documented 603 CMR 46.03 1B 1 through 5 in advance of the use of prone restraint and maintains the documentation. Any physical restraint in a manner inconsistent with the regulations of 603 CMR 46.00 is also prohibited. Physical restraint shall be considered an emergency procedure of last resort and shall be prohibited except when a student's behavior poses a threat of assault or imminent serious physical harm to themselves and/or others, and the student is not responsive to verbal directives or other lawful and less intrusive behavior interventions are deemed inappropriate. The superintendent will develop procedures identifying appropriate responses to student behavior that may require immediate intervention, methods of preventing student violence, self-injurious behavior, and suicide, including crisis planning and de-escalation of potentially dangerous behaviors among groups of students or individuals. Descriptions and explanations of alternatives to physical restraint as well as the school's method of physical restraint for use in emergency situations. descriptions of the school's training requirements, follow-up procedures, and procedures to comply with reporting requirements, including, but not limited to, making reasonable efforts to orally notify a parent of the use of restraint on a student within 24 hours of its imposition, and sending written notice to the parent within 3 school working days. Procedures for receiving and investigating complaints regarding restraint practices. Methods for engaging parents in discussions about restraint prevention and use of restraint solely as an emergency procedure. Procedures for conducting periodic review of data and documentation on the use of restraint as required by the regulations, and the use of time out as a behavioral support strategy, including a process for obtaining approval from the principal or his/her designee for timeout exceeding 30 minutes. Each building principal will identify staff members to serve as school-wide resource to assist in ensuring proper administration of physical restraint. These staff members will participate in an in-depth training program in the use of physical restraint. In addition, each staff member will be trained regarding the school's physical restraint policy and accompanying procedures. The principal will arrange training to occur in the first month of each school year, or for staff hired after the beginning of the school year, within a month of their employment. Physical restraint is prohibited as a means of punishment or as a response to the destruction of property, disruption of school order, a student's refusal to comply with the school rule or staff directive, or verbal threats that do not constitute a threat of imminent serious physical harm to the student or others. Physical restraint is prohibited when it is medically contraindicated, as previously documented by a licensed physician. Physical restraint shall not be used as a standard response for any individual student. No written individual behavior plan or individualized education program, IEP, may include use of physical restraint as a standard response to any behavior. Physical restraint is an emergency procedure of last resort. Physical restraint in the Millis Public Schools shall be limited to the use of such reasonable force as is necessary to protect a student or another member of the school community from assault or imminent serious physical harm. Referral to law enforcement or other state agencies. Nothing in 603 CMR 46.00 prohibits: A, the right of any individual to report to appropriate authorities a crime committed by a student or other individual. B, law enforcement, judicial authorities, or school security personnel from exercising their responsibilities, including the physical detainment of a student or other person alleged to have committed a crime or posing a security risk. Or C, the exercise of an individual's responsibilities as a mandated reporter pursuant to MGL Chapter 119, subsection 51A. 603 CMR 46.00 shall not be used to deter any individual from reporting neglect or abuse to the appropriate state agency. Timeout rooms. The use of timeout procedures during which staff continuously observe and remain immediately available to the student shall not be considered seclusion restraint. This policy and its accompanying procedures shall be reviewed and disseminated to staff annually and made available to parents of enrolled students. The superintendent shall provide a copy of the physical restraint regulations to each principal, who shall sign a form acknowledging receipt thereof.
You did a good job, too.
Well done. Well done.
Now I need one.
So before you guys approve this, I want to make sure that everybody understands everything. And one of the biggest things I'd like to start with is the timeout rooms. So just so you know, the Department of Education is updating the guidelines, and I actually have a policy right here to update. I'm not giving it to you guys right now. They would like us to have everything implemented by August 2026. The administration is already starting to work on this. So this is an area we take very seriously. So waiting until August 2026 is really not the way we want to move forward. We want to get it implemented quickly. So we've been working on a number of things within each school, and one of those being the timeout rooms. We do not at this time have any timeout rooms, just to make that clear. other thing that I do want to just make sure everybody understands is the idea of where it says referral to law enforcement and other state agencies. Nothing in 603 CMR 46.00 prohibits. And then it gets into those lawful things. Basically what that speaks to is the concept of if we had some sort of safety issue and the police or law enforcement were involved, they can take whatever protocol and procedure they need to, and that supersedes ours. Make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. There's one more thing I wanted to say to you guys. The only other thing is that everything within this we have already completed for this school year. So we're ready to go in the way of everybody has been safety care trained. We have our teams. We have our level of oversight. We're actually writing up procedure for each school regarding the steps in which, what the team does, what the BCBA might do, what the principal does, what I do. So we're in really good standing. So once we get it updated, everybody will get a copy of the new one.
So everything under the section, the superintendent will develop procedures identifying, that's all?
We're on that. Yep. That's all done. We're just updating right now in consideration of the timeout room piece. And again, once we have that done, what we could do is, again, the policy is ready. It's been checked by the attorney. We would then have the procedures for each school checked against that to make sure everything's aligned, and then we'd be good to go, ready to bring that to you guys.
What happens when there is a substitute in the classroom and there isn't a lead teacher in there at that time, especially over in CFB with the younger ones?
Sure.
How are they made aware of these types of policies? Even, these,
Sure.
the ones in here and all of the rest that go along with
Absolutely.
making sure the children are safe?
No doubt. So the first thing is, and that's the reason that we're coming forward to make sure that these things are updated, because things like, we're going to talk about bullying in a minute, bullying, restraint, non-discrimination, these are things that, are not just quote-unquote hot topics within school districts, but these are things that we're seeing as issues everywhere, every day. So it's important that everybody that comes into the school is aware of these. These things are all on the website, public record, and like that. When people come into the school, what we make sure of is that we have sort of an at-a-glance document and something that people can review to understand each student. What plays a big role in that is the confidentiality piece, and when we have subs in and like that, maintaining that people are following those confidentiality laws. Something we've also been talking about is our non-disclosure form, and just making sure that when people are coming in as subs and like that they're filling that out, and we then have that documentation that people are not going to talk about anything that's going on for a student. So to get back to your question, I'm trying to give you all the details. When somebody, let's say, has a student that might have difficult days, they will be made aware verbally by, it could be another teacher or the principal, who you will meet shortly at CFB. But on top of that, we have our safety care teams. So if anything was to occur, what would happen is we have walkies, and then people are alerted that they need safety care assistance, and the team all comes, and we have procedure for different kids.
And all subs do go through training. Ms. Malloy's here.
Oh, yes.
And she conducts the sub training, and so they touch on these very important issues.
Does that answer it?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. We got one more, right?
One more.
Yeah.
So now you're going to go to page 265.
I'm still scrolling. You're good too.
All right, so this one is a little more scatter in it. Let me jump into mine. Okay. All right. So the first thing that was updated was the title. So basically, we did not have the word retaliation in there, so we updated that. So that is in there now. As part of the policy, we added in retaliation as a prohibited conduct. We added the DESE requirement regarding skill-building approaches to teach appropriate behavior. And again, when we're talking about bullying, retaliation, prevention, we're not just speaking to students, we're speaking to, staff, adults, and like that. So we make sure that everybody is on top of those skills. We added Crown Act language. Are you guys familiar with the Crown Act? Basically what that has to do with is different hairstyles, ensuring that people are not bullied in accordance with that. If you do want me to link that to you guys after, I can do that. Put in the legal definition of cyberbullying. It has been reflected to update MGL-C 71370, which includes bullying through the use of technology or electronic communication, meaning email, internet communications, instant messages, and faxes. The creation of web page or blog in which the creator assumes the identity of another person. Knowing impersonation of another person as the author of a posted content or message. Distribution of electronic communications or postings of material on an electronic medium that may be assessed by one or more person, and such actions meet the conditions defined by bullying.
So does that include when they're off campus too?
It can.
Okay.
It can.
So if a family came to the school and saw, something had been identified on social media, the school can take action?
They can. It depends on the individualized situation, and it depends if it's the disruption, if it's making a disruption into the school day and like that, or what specifically is going on. So that's why I will not say it's all the time, but it can. So that is that one. Who's jumping into the bullying? This is a biggie. Just to let you know.
We'll have to rotate them at the second reading.
Are you guys glad we did these all at once?
Aren't we?
Yes.
All right, policy number 5.10.14, bullying and retaliation prevention. Bullying prevention 5.10.14. The Millis Public Schools is committed to providing a safe, positive, and productive educational environment where students can achieve the highest academic standards. No student shall be subjected to harassment, intimidation, bullying, or cyberbullying. Quote, bullying, unquote, is the repeated use by one or more students or school staff members of a written, verbal, or electronic expression, or a physical act or gesture, or any combination thereof, directed at a target that causes physical or emotional harm to the target or damage to the target's property, places the target in reasonable fear of harm to him or herself or of damage to his or her property, creates a hostile environment at school for the target, infringes on the rights of the target at school, or materially and substantially disrupts the educational process or the orderly operation of the school. Cyberbullying, Mass General Law, Chapter 71, subsection 370, as bullying through the use of technology or an electronic communication, which shall include but shall not be limited to any transfer of signs, signals, writing, images, sounds, data, or intelligence of any nature transmitted in whole or in part by wire, radio, electromagnetic, photo, electronic, or photo-optical system, including but not limited to electronic mail, internet communications, instant messages, or facsimile communications. Cyberbullying shall also include 1. The creation of a web page or blog in which the creator assumes the identity of another person, or 2. the knowing impersonation of another person as the author of posted content or messages, if the creation or impersonation creates any of the conditions enumerated in clause 1 to 5, inclusive of the definition of bullying. Cyberbullying shall also include the distribution by electronic means of communication to more than one person or the posting of material on an electronic medium that may be accessed by one or more persons. If the distribution or posting creates any of the condition enumerated in clauses 1 to 5, inclusive of the definition of bullying. Bullying and cyberbullying may occur in and out of school, during and after school hours, at home, and in locations outside of the home. When bullying and cyberbullying are alleged, the full cooperation and assistance of parents and families are expected. Retaliation is any form of intimidation, reprisal, or harassment directed against a student who reports bullying, provides information during an investigation of bullying, or witnesses or has reliable information about bullying. For the purposes of this policy, whenever the term bullying is used, it is to denote either bullying or cyberbullying. Bullying is prohibited on school grounds, on property immediately adjacent to school grounds, at school-sponsored or school-related activities, at functions or programs, whether on or off school grounds, at school bus stops, on school buses or other vehicles owned, leased, or used by the school district, or through the use of technology or an electronic device owned, leased, or used by the Millis Public Schools. Bullying and cyberbullying are prohibited at a location, activity, function, or program that is not school-related, or through the use of technology or an electronic device that is not owned, leased, or used by the Millis Public Schools if the act or acts in question create a hostile environment at school for the target, infringe on the rights of the target at school, and or materially and substantially disrupt the educational process or the orderly operation of the school. Prevention and intervention plan. The superintendent and or his or her designee shall oversee the development of a prevention and intervention plan in consultation with all district stakeholders, which may include teachers, school staff, professional support personnel, school volunteers, administrators, community representatives, local law enforcement agencies, students, parents and guardians, consistent with the requirements of this policy, as well as state and federal laws. The bullying prevention and intervention plan shall be reviewed and updated at least biennially. The school principal is responsible for the implementation oversight of the bullying prevention and implementation plan within their school. Reporting. Students who believe that they are target of bullying, observe an act of bullying, or who have reasonable grounds to believe that these behaviors are taking place are encouraged to report incidents to a member of the school staff. The target shall, however, not be subject to discipline or failing to report bullying. School staff will report the incident to the school principal or his or her designee. Each school shall have a means for anonymous reporting by students of incidents of bullying. No formal disciplinary action shall be taken solely on the basis of an anonymous report. Any student who knowingly makes a false accusation of bullying shall be subject to disciplinary action. Parents or guardians or members of the community are encouraged to report an incident of bullying or retaliation as soon as possible to any school staff member. School staff members must report the incident to the school principal or his or her designee. A member of the school staff shall immediately report any instance of bullying or retaliation that the staff member has witnessed or become aware of to the school principal or his or her designee. Investigation procedures. The school principal or his or her designee, upon receipt of a viable report, shall promptly contact the parents or guardians of a student who has been the alleged target or alleged perpetrator of a bullying or retaliation. The actions being taken to prevent further acts of bullying or retaliation shall be discussed. School principal or a designee shall promptly investigate the report of bullying or retaliation using a bullying/cyberbullying report form, which may include interviewing the alleged target, alleged perpetrator, staff members, students, and or witnesses. Support staff shall assess an alleged target's needs for protection and create and implement a safety plan that shall restore a sense of safety for that student. Confidentiality shall be used to protect a person who reports bullying and or retaliation, provides information during an investigation of bullying, or is witness to or has reliable information about an act of bullying. The school principal or a designee determines that bullying has occurred, he or she shall take appropriate disciplinary actions, and if it is believed that a criminal act has occurred or criminal charges may be pursued against the perpetrator, the principal shall consult with the school's resource officer and the superintendent to determine if criminal charges are warranted. If it is determined that criminal charges are warranted, the local law enforcement agency shall be notified. The investigation shall be completed within 14 school days from the date of the report. The parents or guardians shall be contacted upon completion of the investigation and informed of the results, including whether the allegations were found to be factual, whether a violation of the policy was found, and whether disciplinary action has or shall be taken. At a minimum, the principal or his or her designee shall contact the parents or guardians as to the status of the investigation on a weekly basis. The principal or designee will promptly notify the parents or guardians of the target and the aggressor about the results of the investigation, and if bullying or retaliation is found, what action is being taken to prevent further acts of bullying or retaliation. All notice to parents must comply with applicable state and federal privacy laws and regulations. Because of the legal requirements regarding the confidentiality of student records, the principal or designee cannot report specific information to the target's parents or guardian about the disciplinary action taken, unless it involves a stay-away
Bless you.
order or the directive that the target must be aware of in order to report violations. Disciplinary actions for students who have committed an act of bullying or retaliation shall be in accordance with the district disciplinary policies. Discipline may range from warnings to detentions to suspensions, balancing the needs of accountability with the need to teach appropriate behaviors. Skill-building approaches to teach appropriate behavior may include individual skill-building sessions based on the district's anti-bullying curriculum, providing relevant educational activities for individual students or groups of students in consultation with appropriate school personnel, implementing a range of academic and non-academic positive behavioral supports to help students understand pro-social ways to achieve their goals, meeting with parents and guardians to engage parental support and to reinforce the anti-bullying curricula and social skill-building activities at home. Adopting behavioral plans to include a focus on developing specific social skills and making a referral for evaluation. The school principal will inform the parents or guardians of the victim about the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education's problem resolution system and the process for seeking assistance or filing a claim through the problem resolution system. Each school shall document any incident of bullying that is reported per this policy, and a file shall be maintained by the principal or designee. A monthly report shall be provided to the superintendent. Confidentiality shall be maintained to the extent consistent with the school's obligation under the law. Retaliation. Retaliation against a person who reports bullying, provides information during an investigation of bullying, or has reliable information about bullying shall be prohibited. Target assistance. The Millis Public Schools shall provide counseling or referral to appropriate services, including guidance, academic intervention, and protection to students, both targets and perpetrators affected by the bullying. Training and assessment. Annual training shall be provided for school employees and volunteers who have significant contact with students in preventing, identifying, responding to, and reporting incidents of bullying. Age-appropriate, evidence-based instruction on bullying prevention shall be incorporated into the curriculum for all K-12 students. Vulnerable students. The Millis Public Schools recognizes that certain students may be more vulnerable to becoming a target of bullying or harassment based on actual or perceived differentiating characteristics, including race, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, sex, socioeconomic status, homelessness, academic status, hair textures and protective hairstyles, gender identity or expression, physical appearance, pregnant or parenting status, sexual orientation, mental, physical, developmental, or sensory disability, or by association with a person who has or is perceived to have one or more of these characteristics. The Millis Public Schools will provide age-appropriate instruction to support vulnerable students with the skills, knowledge, and strategies needed to prevent or respond to bullying or harassment. Publication and notice. Annual written notice of the relevant sections of the Bullying Prevention and Intervention Plan shall be provided to students and their parents or guardians in age-appropriate terms. Annual written notice of the Bullying Prevention and Intervention Plan shall be provided to all school staff. The faculty and staff at each school shall be trained annually on the Bullying Prevention and Intervention Plan applicable to the school. Relevant sections of the Bullying Prevention and Intervention Plan relating to the duties of faculty and staff shall be included in the school employee handbook. The Bullying Prevention and Intervention Plan shall be posted on the Millis Public Schools website.
Good job.
Do we have a school employee handbook?
We are working on it, and this will be part of it.
Okay.
So we don't have to vote on anything,
Not until we
Right.
do another reading.
right? Any other questions for, anything else for us to read before, I didn't get a turn, I just want to, I read it at the beginning.
Sorry.
Anyway.
The perks of being
If you
chair.
want, I can give
Right,
you
you got
the
it.
timeout policy.
September 16th.
I know, right? No, thank you. Thank you for,
Not a
for,
problem.
for
If you
putting all
guys
this
have any
together.
other questions, please reach out. I look forward to the next time you guys get to go through all this.
You really will?
Thank
Really,
you.
I have a document with all the policies on it that you didn't have to type all those up because I already made one when I first came on.
So I made a copy.
Okay.
So then all the changes were made to the copy.
Okay.
So it's unofficial. So we can destroy that. We'll make it official. All right.
I don't know if you like rewrote them all.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, move to time and learning. Yeah, technology.
Sky Bomba.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Sky is a new Clyde Brown principal, coming off day 3 with students.
Right, and
Is it day 3? Yeah, it is day 3.
and still smiling. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me tonight. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. Excited to join CFB as the principal. Had last week was great with the 1st through 5th graders, and then today we had all the little kindergartners and preschoolers here, and everything went well. So the normal hiccups that you would imagine, like extra traffic this morning because everybody needs a picture when you're sending your kindergartner off for the first time. But everything went really well, and I'm excited to work with you and the whole community as I get to know everybody.
We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Shifting
Welcome.
chairs and still.
Thank you.
still
Yes,
be-
yes,
yeah,
I was
for
here
sure.
last year in
Yeah.
special education, but it's nice
Yeah.
to fulfill this role.
That's great. Yeah.
And I didn't see too many tears this morning with kindergarten.
No,
There
they
might
did
have
really
been some,
well.
but They did a really
Yeah, they did
nice
really
job.
well. And I do have the best duty because at the end of the day, I stand at the door sending everybody to parent pickup. And the smiles as the kids go running to their parents is truly the best part of the day, just because both sides are equally excited, but kindergarten had a few extra smiles today on the way out the door. And every kid left smiling, so that was good too. Yeah, yeah,
That's wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. Looking
Thank you.
forward to continuing the good year that has already started.
Yes, thank you so much, and if you need anything, please reach out. Any questions for me, or just put a face to the name?
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Excited.
Thanks, Sky.
Thank you.
Sky.
Thank you, Sky. Yeah, Mr. Kamiri, come on up for a technology update.
Yes. Good evening, thank you. So just a brief update on the tech department, kind of over the summer and leading up into the school year this year. We had a couple big projects over the summer. One you kind of may have noticed already was the upgrade to our website. So we have the new website. Kind of brought us up to speed as far as like a new kind of modern look, consistency across the district site as well as the schools. Kind of the pieces that you wouldn't necessarily see here is kind of the back end management of it is much easier to deal with, and we're able to kind of delegate responsibilities amongst people, and it's just kind of like a very kind of upgraded modern platform to be able to manage and keep kind of current with all the content that goes up there. Tied to that new website is our new like mass communication system, which takes the place of School Messenger, and it's through the same company that runs the website. It's called Aptigee and ThrillShare. ThrillShare is like the content management, is the website portion. Aptigee is the alerts, news feed, news, that when the school's closed, kind of announcements that go out. Again, that is very easy to use, very customizable for all the teachers. It's tied into where we have these live feed and news sections of the website, so it's very easy for a when Bob goes ahead and sends out schools closed due to snow, which hopefully we don't have too many of those.
Not gonna
soon,
happen.
but- Yep, sorry. I shouldn't
Take
say.
one on the way.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
more, it's more heat these
Yep,
days.
that too, even though it is cooling down a little bit. But there's like an added bonus now too, where, you know, you have people out at, you know, Ms. Gopi's maybe at one of her performances, a coach is at a game or out on the field. It's very easy right on their phone to send out like a live kind of post in the moment, and get those things out there, whereas that really wasn't possible before. So tied with the website, that mass communication system, we also now have a Millis Public Schools app. If you go onto the website, and each of the schools as well as the districts, one of the first banners you'll see is like everything Millis Public Schools in your pocket, and that's our app to download for an iPhone or an Android phone. And that's where you can get those live feeds, those news articles, you can see upcoming events in the calendar. There's our site there, and that's the QR code and everything to access. And if you scroll down, you'll see like a live feed and news section so the events are on the app. Further down from there, you'll have our live feed, which is really our school's district kind of social feed. The principals and other identified individuals from each of the buildings can feed into the district's live feed as well as their own schools. And those are your like quick, you know, reminders of things that are exciting and happening, and like the pictures and videos. That's your live feed. And then the news is kind of the next section down, which is like your longer term kind of events and things, you know, curriculum night coming up, you know, open house. Those were going back to like the school bus routes change. We have a space to spotlight different employees or students. It's just a very nice, very good looking, easy to manage website, and I think a lot of people have been happy with it. Translation is very simple, where you have the translate button, families can go there and choose whatever language they want. They can have it set to their primary language. Also associated with that is in the communication system. Within our student information system, if the family has identified, you know, Gujarati, Portuguese as their primary language, when they get those communications, we're able to hit a toggle that when they get those communications, they'll receive it in their primary language. So there's a lot of kind of benefits to this new system that kind of brings us to where we need to be, all ADA compliant. It's been a fun project to work on that we've been able to launch with pretty good success.
Looks great.
That's great.
So that was our big one. So website, communication system, and the app. In addition to that, we upgraded our entire phone system across the district. So we used to use a company called TPX. Now we've migrated to Zoom. So obviously everyone knows Zoom for meetings, but Zoom also has a phone section. So it's just like any other phone system, but Zoom is the kind of carrier and the back end product. So if you have a Zoom account, which we all did, now when you go there, you also see a phone section. So it's easy to retrieve your voicemails on there, to leave voicemails, to see all transcriptions of your calls, histories of your calls. For those of us that have direct lines, so classroom teachers is not really any direct lines, they have a school extension. But for those of us that have direct lines, administrators, other specialized staff, we can receive calls via our hard desk phone. We can make and receive calls as if we were sitting at our desk from the Zoom app. We can text via our work phone via the Zoom app. We can receive calls, get our voicemail from our computers via the web app, so anywhere we are. So if we're sitting at home, we can really be at the office. If we need to run out to somewhere, we can really be at the office and make a call. For some of those staff that may work between buildings, they really only need that one extension. That's always, they're able to reach them there because it's the same wherever they go. So the switch to Zoom has been huge. Again, on the back end, night and day. Unbelievably cost efficient. About $24,000, I think, cheaper per year to go to a Zoom than our previous product. So we're always considering that. So it's been a fun project, and everything is kind of up and running at this point. At the end, we were scrambling to make sure it was up for the first day, and we were good. A couple of networking things here and there, but we got it up and running. And overall, everything has gone smooth with those two products. It's been great. In addition to those big projects, we've gotten all our, we've continued with our ClassLink rostering, so all our applications and software, or many of them, are rostered automatically due to the sync between our information system and the applications. For the most part, all our classes are rostered. Kids have been jumping on them. They're actually, some of them are even jumping in, trying to jump in right before school started. So we are, I think, I don't want to miss anything, overall kind of smooth with the digital learning piece. We do have 2 new employees in the tech department, a new network manager and a new data support specialist, replacing 2 people that have been here for a little while. And that's been going great as well. They've jumped right in, and a lot of positive feedback around the district with the work they've been doing. Continue to get our Clear Touch panel, those guys, adoption in the classrooms. We have the 20 around the district. We're looking to get about 10 more. We would love to have a lot more, but we don't want to have an overabundance of them when it comes time for the building project, and we kind of have a plan for those type of panels in the project, and we don't want to have more than we need. So those are in kind of high demand for when we get those. And then finally, we are continuing with the shop desk with the student technology team here at the high school. I received this week about 8 emails so far regarding interest in that team. That's where the students basically, they give up their study hall to come and sit at the desk to help the IT department fix Chromebooks, manage our loaner fleet, help with anything else. They're all going to be getting Acer Chromebook repair certified. I anticipate probably 8 more, total of 16 students maybe joining that group before all said is said and done. So it's been a good start to the year, and happy to say everything's going smoothly.
That's great. That's fantastic. When if you text from when you text through that the Zoom phone through the app, does it show your what number does it comes your
work
exact
direct
number?
line,
That's
your work
great.
extension.
Yeah.
Yep.
How are the records retention through that? Is Zoom?
Everything's held for, I don't know what Zoom, I think, I'm not going to say indefinitely. I mean, as a user, you can remove things, but Zoom, I'll have to look at their policy for what they keep. But I'm sure they work it's actually, most schools are migrating to them right now. So I'd have to find out exactly what their retention policy is, but it's becoming a huge, I don't know if it's cost driven, but it's becoming a huge adoption in schools right now.
I'm just thinking, like, would public records requests?
Yeah. They must have a.
Yeah, so that's part of it, and that's a big reason why it's great to have for like kind of that text possibilities where it's just tied to our work. This is it. We're using our work phones, and we're able to kind of provide that as a record if we need to. So that is all saved. Yep. I don't know what the time frame is of how long Zoom keeps it on their end. That is something I can find out.
In the phones, we did this in conjunction with Town Hall as well.
Correct.
So it's a nice, another example of us working with Town Hall to streamline.
Right.
Exactly.
And it's been communicated out to all employees that they should be operating through that with communications with students, with text messaging, like coaches and stuff like that?
So not all individuals have that text message. It's district admin and some specialized kind of staff. So I wouldn't say, like, coaches will not have that capability to text.
Okay.
So however their method for communicating, I think primarily, a lot of it is through their school email
Email.
accounts. Yep. But I would say through the administrative team and that's a vehicle that we're like exploring. But for sure, being able to use our Zoom app on the computer is good.
Right, the coaches have that text messaging service.
Yeah, maybe they use Remind or
Sports
something.
Oh.
Yeah, Sports U, yeah.
Sports,
Yeah.
okay.
Is it so? Is it everybody who has So like a guidance counselor has a landline. They're like it's everybody who's basically got a desk and a phone in theory. Or is
Essentially, not classroom
Yeah.
teachers. You have
Right.
district admins, administrative specialists in the office, guidance counselors, some like behavior specialists, kind of like that might make more than normal contact with parents and need private calls and things like that. Yep. There's about 45 of those direct numbers across the district.
That's great. It's nice to be able to catch up to the texting, to be able to send a text through a phone other than your own personal phone.
For sure.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Questions?
No, very smooth technology start this year.
We had internet.
Well, we started with internet from day one.
Yep. It was awesome.
Great.
Yep. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Brian.
Thank you very much. So we'll move to the chair report, which will be an MSBA update. I want to take that. MSBA update. MSBA.
Yes. So Millis submitted its schematic design to the MSBA on Thursday, August 28th, and finalized the scope and budget for the middle high school addition and renovation. Mr. Mullaney is going to share some slides from the combined school committee select board meeting of August 25th, showing the most current renderings, the projected timeline, and the budget.
So this is the goal, the end point. Looking at it from, the first parking lot when you drive in. This was the plan submitted. The plan, as we all know, calls for a new addition of a middle school in the back, and the renovation of the front part of the building, which will be the high school, and then shared space in the middle with the gymnasium and art room, media center, and all those shared spaces. The timeline, we are right at this point here. In November, there'll be a town meeting, and in December, there'll be a vote to move on with the project scope and funding at the town level. And we're very hopeful that it will turn out in favor of the renovated and updated facility. And then once that vote is secured, then it takes a little time before shovels get in the ground, because there's the further drilling down of the design. There's the permitting involved to get the construction ready, putting it out to bid, and then finally choosing a construction firm to do the work, and then getting that all together. So the first shovels will go into the ground probably sometime around March or April of 2027, and then it's about a 28-month project. It's a little longer than what it took for Clyde Brown because there's still school going on, and so we're doing the work around the students, and so there's work happening during the school year, and then when the school empties out for the summer, there's intense projects that they try and get done over the summer. And you can see down at the bottom for the milestones, just different moving kids into different spaces. So one of the first things that will happen is they'll build that addition, what will become the middle school addition. Once that's built, they'll move some students in there and then begin to renovate, the high school section. And then once that's all ready, they move the high school kids back into this section, and then move the other students into middle school kids into the middle school section. And then, once it's all completed, we'll have the facility that will look like this. And then the cost, we received good news on the cost at that meeting. The total project budget is $125 million. $1.3 million has already been approved for our feasibility study, so we'd be looking at an appropriation of an additional $123,700,000. It's a big price tag. However, because this is an addition renovation project, the MSBA reimbursement rate is expected to be over 50%. And so we're looking at the MSBA paying more than 50% of this project.
I didn't know one above 50%. That's great news.
Yeah, yeah. It's excellent news, and at the meeting, we had the joint meeting with the school committee and the select board and the FinCom and the school business, the school building committee. When we looked back to what it would cost just to do the bare minimum that would get no reimbursement, we were looking at $70 million coming from the town to basically just put lipstick on the pig, as they say, and have no additional benefit to the town or to the students. So very excited about the project, and so we should be hearing back from the MSBA shortly on their, if they accept the proposal, which we're pretty confident that they will.
It's worth highlighting that what you just said, that the amount that the town will pay is, with the MSBA reimbursement, is less than the estimated cost to just fix what's broken in this building itself. So you can spend a little more money and get nothing extra, or spend a little less money and get a whole bunch more than you would.
And speaking as someone who does construction projects on old buildings, once you start opening buildings like this up, it gets more expensive. You find things that you have to fix.
Yeah.
That was fantastic news when they said that. Yeah. Thank you for that. I'll leave it with you to keep on going.
Okay, so superintendent, again, as was echoed by Nicholas and Ms. Copese and Ms. Bombo, we had a really great start to the school year. As smooth a start to a school year as I can remember, and part of it is because the weather has been fantastic for school, great school weather. The systems are running well, and just a really good start to the school year, so we're very excited about that. Another thing to celebrate is the 2025-2026 marks we're in our 30th year with immersion, which is amazing. So stay tuned. We'll be doing some celebrations during the course of the year to celebrate this really unique program for Millis. And I think back, this is my 19th year in Millis. My first year as high school principal, that was the seniors, my first year, were the first graduating class of immersion students. And over the years, to see what those kids have been able to accomplish, it's been fantastic. So we're excited about the 30th anniversary, and people will be hearing more about that as we go along. Hopefully get some alumni back to celebrate. And with the start of school, we also had some recognition for the high school. The high school was recognized as one of U.S. News and World Report's best schools, and Millis ranked 1,041 out of almost 18,000 high schools across the country. So that puts Millis in the top 6% nationally. The magazine rated Millis High School 45th in Massachusetts and 37th in the Metro Boston area. And significantly, with respect to the college readiness index of the magazine and the college breadth index in the magazine, Millis High School finished in the top 3% nationally. Millis was ranked 24th in the state for readiness and 21st in the state for breadth, which, it's kind of a, a lot of times people say a small school, kids don't have as many opportunities and so forth. However, this kind of refutes that notion. One of the things that we're really proud of with our high school is that kids have the confidence and skill to take advanced college coursework. So that college readiness index is a measure of the percentage of our senior class who have taken and passed AP classes, and the college breadth index is seniors who have taken more than one. So our students are really challenging themselves, and I attribute that to the hard work of our kids, the confidence in our kids, and the skills and confidence that our teachers and educators have helped instill in them. And then Boston Magazine came out with its rankings of the best high schools in Greater Boston, and Millis came in 46th among 150 high schools in the greater Boston area. Once again, Millis, for the fourth time in 5 years, ranked among the 10 best schools in what the magazine calls the best bang for your housing dollar. And these were schools that whose rankings most significantly surpassed the ranking of their respective median home price. So Millis, again, kind of outperforming its demographic in the metrics of the Boston Magazine. So once again, this recognition is nice because it's it's based on the kids' performance, based on student performance. So we're very proud of that. It was a nice way to start the school year.
Based on student performance, that is very much tied to how the work that our staff does, which is incredible. Thank you for that.
Sure.
Correspondence. I know we have some. I don't think we have any correspondence, but there's some new business.
Yeah, and it kind of fits under both correspondence or new business. I've been in contact with Tracy Novick from the Massachusetts Association of School Committees regarding their policy book services. We just read 3 tonight, but they have a service where they come in and help school committees and administrators in school districts update policy books to meet federal and state guidelines, as well as institute best practices. And Tracy discussed some of what the service can do, and the MASC can conduct a full policy review, and it means aligning all of our current district policies with the MASC model practices, and working with a policy subcommittee and administration to review and update the policies as needed. And once the policies are updated and approved by the committee, they're able to provide an online policy manual. The cost is $10,500 payable in 3 installments. And we've been wanting to do this for a number of years. We really haven't had the money. This year, I think, with some of the savings we're realizing because of some retirement, some leave of absences, some salary savings that we'll have. I would recommend that this would be a good use of that money. The process would be, there'd be a subcommittee of school committee members and myself and maybe another school administrator who'd work with MASC and meet once about every 6 weeks and look at a different section. As you just read, our policies are number coded. MASC in current practice is letter coding, so we have to revamp all of that stuff. It would be a good amount of work, but I think work that would be well worth it in the long run. So,
Quick question. When it would come time for us to approve the full policy manual after all of the updates are made, we don't have to read all of that, do we?
300 pages, yeah, I think we should read.
How does that work? Like a
Yeah,
blanket?
that's something I can ask Tracy about, because I know some other districts have gone through it, and they haven't, to my knowledge, they haven't read their whole
Right.
policy book.
Okay.
That'd be a lot.
That's
It
not
would
gonna
be an awful lot,
happen.
because there's a number of things that, I think we would be changing.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
So
right.
would going through Mass C commit us to doing work with them in the future? So if there are other policy changes, would it have to be reviewed by them, or could we make the changes like we did today?
Yeah, we can make change, the committee has the authority to change the policies as long as they don't violate federal, state laws.
But we're not locked into a contract.
But, right, we're not locked into something, but as part of the service, the MASC also will share model policies for current things.
That's
that
helpful.
Could be very helpful.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a really, I think it's a really solid program, solid service that the MASC provides.
Right, and so we can, it's come up before, but so we'll talk about it again during our next meeting. Is that how
Sure,
we
yeah,
do it?
if we wanted to come up with a subcommittee to, to pursue it with MASC, we can do that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You said that they would give you like a web-based version. Is
Yes.
that going to be compatible with our new awesome website?
Absolutely. It would be housed in both places, both on the MASC website and on our awesome new website.
I skipped the announcement. I do have one quick announcement. Tomorrow is the final day for anyone who is interested in filling our vacant seat on the school committee. There have been a couple emails that have gone out, but anybody who's interested would just submit a letter to the town administrator of Millis saying that you are interested and reach out with any questions. So the deadline for that is tomorrow, and then we'll follow a process after that based on how many we have from there. And I think that is all we have. We do have an executive session scheduled for tonight. So,
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Kamstar.
I make a motion to move to executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if open meetings may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and not to return to open session.
Moved and seconded. This is a roll call, unless there's further discussion. This is a roll call vote. Ms. Briggs? Ms. Kamstar?
Yes.
I am a yes. Mr. Underhill?
Aye.
4 for 4. That concludes this evening's meeting. Thank you very much. Our next meeting is in 2 weeks, Tuesday, September 16th at 7:30. Thank you.